So my name is Michael Szewczyk. I'm known as Szevvy to most people. I've been at Toast for I think about 2 years now, and I'm the CTO, or the Chief Technology Officer. I've been in the games industry for 19 years. When I started, the iPhone hadn't come out yet. The iPhone was still a year away, and we were making games for Game Boy Advance.
That is a very different gaming landscape.
Very different, very different.
And you would have seen a lot of change as well.
Mobile games weren't a thing yet.
Yeah.
I'd always been interested in making games. Back in high school in grade 12, I got a subject to myself to make a game instead of doing another subject. So after that I went to university. I did a double degree in IT and creative industries. And towards the end of uni, right before I graduated, I was offered a job at Half-Brick Studios. And so I accepted and almost didn't graduate because I didn't bother doing the final assignments. But I got them through in the end. A lot of people that I worked with I'm still friends with today. You know, most of the people who came to my wedding were people I knew from Half-Brick. I was a junior programmer when I started.
Yeah.
It was my first job and I worked there for a few years, and then I went to Pandemic, which was a studio that existed in Brisbane at the time. And then I went to Chrome, back to Half-Brick, joined a startup called Pretty Great, and then we got acquired by Snapchat, and now here I am. I think it's really good to try working both in big companies and small companies. I think it gives you a breadth of experience that's really useful. You can see what things work in different environments, and I think it makes you a more rounded human being. I worked on an Avatar game for the animated series, not the blue people. I worked on some Star Wars stuff. I worked on a Hellboy game, a poker game, an arcade game emulator, lots of things. So we made a mobile title called Crash Club, and it was a drive around a city combat-y type game. So you drove your car and you could pick up power-ups and weapons. I am really proud of how that thing worked, because you'd start the game and it would just drop you into a city with other players immediately. There was you didn't have to wait in a lobby, you didn't have to wait for a game to start, you just got dropped into a city, and if there were not enough people in that game, it would merge you with another game that was running. So it was all very seamless. You would just, and it kind of made sure that you weren't being swapped too often. It was quite a fantastic project. Not at all. I was looking for the right fit of company, and Toast was that company, but I wasn't particularly looking at VR, or I didn't really have any VR experience. But the company and the people and the game that the company was making were the right fit for me at that point in my life. I think I looked at the game and I thought I could make a positive difference.
Yeah.
I thought I could help a studio that was full of really incredible people. The CEO at the time, Kylie, chased me on LinkedIn and tracked me down and Headhunted, yes, because Snapchat had just closed their Brisbane studio, and so she knew that, you know, there were experienced people who were looking for a role, and she didn't give up. I think I really enjoy the fact that it feels more real. You pick things up and it feels like you're actually picking them up. You know, it's very different to looking at the world through a little screen. I like the fact that you can look around and look into things and kind of explore the experience you're in. But I think anyone who is in the games industry has to change quite frequently. So, for example, the change to mobile games was a big change from console, right? Anytime new technologies come out, you learn to adapt very quickly, or you get left behind, unfortunately. So I think the biggest challenge is actually looking after your health. I think wearing that headset for hours and sometimes flipping it up, there's a risk of not taking care of yourself as a human being. And so I think the hardest thing with VR development is remembering to take care of yourself, you know? Because if you're sitting in front of a computer, you know, you have to get up and stretch every now and again, but with VR development, it becomes absolutely crucial. I think it's also sometimes difficult to make people not feel sick. So you've really got to test experiences and make sure that at no point do people feel unwell from the experience. I remember in a game jam, the only other VR work I'd done was at a game jam, and we were developing in Unreal, and every time something went wrong, your view would stop updating, and so every time there was a bug, you instantly felt like throwing up. As more and more platforms have VR elements, as headsets get better, people are definitely interested. It's a big space, and people do get VR devices for Christmas. And when they get those devices, they want to try out the best experiences they can. And the cost of entry is not too bad. You can get a headset and you can start experimenting and playing around relatively cheaply, as compared to, say, developing for a console. I wish I had gotten the advice to yell out if you think things are not going well. I think I've been on a lot of projects where everybody knew that it wasn't going well and nobody spoke up because they didn't want to upset people, they didn't want to create fear, but the reality was the project was not going well and the project was not going to ship, and somebody has to have the guts to say, I don't think we're going to finish this when we say we're going to finish it. Everybody's worried about it, what do we do? And I think sometimes the people who don't have any management experience or they're not considered leaders yet, it's really good for them to have the confidence to say that. And the other piece of advice would be don't overwork yourself. I know in the it's gotten better, but in the early days of the industry, we definitely worked way too hard. And some studios still do work very hard, and I think it's at some point it starts affecting your physical health, your mental health, and it's important to remember that we're doing this because we love it, not because it has to be a crazy experience. When you're first starting your career and you're young and you can do it and it gives you a leg up, I don't know, but certainly at some point as you get older, you have to start saying, I'm sorry, no. I would advise them to get a headset, play some of the games that are on there. Just see what people are doing. You know, the titles that are well known and that people really like. Just see what they do. Just experience the experiences and then start thinking about what experiences you could create with those tools. It's still a very new thing, and so there's a lot of room for innovation and a lot of room for creativity, and I'm excited to see what people are going to build. Journey. Hands down, Journey. It's the one game that I've shown my wife. She's not a gamer, but I showed her Journey. She played Journey and loved it. Journey is such an incredible game. I would recommend everyone try this Journey. It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and it's not complicated. There's no combat, there's no crafting systems, there's none of this stuff. It's just the story of you on a journey. It's incredible. So yeah, that's my recommendation.